For this project, our group decided to research Rosalind Franklin and how she affected the field of psychology. So first to start off with her background, she was born in London in 1920 to a Jewish family, and then she studied physics and chemistry at Newnham Women's College at Cambridge University. Following that, she moved to Paris in 1946, where she spent her time perfecting uh, the X-ray crystallography. Um, and while she was working in Paris, she worked alongside Maurice Wilkins, um, but they had a lot of conflict with each other, and most of the time, they were actually working in isolation. Um, and is yeah, and then on April 16th, 1958, um, Rosalind Franklin passed away, most likely due to uh, over overexposure to radiation.
Rosalind Franklin had incredibly important contributions to the field of biology. She pioneered the discovery of the structure of DNA using the density of DNA as well as the X-ray uh, crystallography that she perfected. DNA is considered one of the secrets of life, and her discovery laid the foundation for later research that suggested that DNA, with its helical structure, is actually a double helix that contains genetic information that allows life to persist. The structure of DNA is incredibly important to its function. And as more research emerged, scientists were able to gain a much better understanding of DNA and more specifically, how the nucleotides encoded the information, and more specifically, the importance of the structure in terms of its function with respect to the information that it stores.
Without Rosalind Franklin's discovery of the structure of DNA, the study of genetics would not be as evolved as to where we are today. I listed below just a couple of how her discovery has influenced the field of psychology, and I will go into detail. So first, I have the biopsychosocial approach. Without Rosalind Franklin, there would be no bio part. It would just be the psychosocial approach because we wouldn't know how genetics work. Another feature is nature versus nurture, like how the way that we grow up, not just in the environment, but also the biology of us can help us determine who we are. This relates to heritability, which is I'll review the likelihood that variations observed in a population are due to genetics. Heritability wouldn't exist without Rosalind Franklin and plays an extremely important factor in psychology. As well as behavioral genetics, which I'll review again, is the study of how genetics and environmental factors influence behavior. And temperament, something that I hadn't known before joining this class, is the strong linkage between temperament and genetics. But then after we went over it, it started to make sense. Both of my parents are low-key people, but I have a friend who has parents who have short-tempered, and in response, my friend is short-tempered. And epigenetics, which is the study of gene environment. So like how there can be a change in phenotype without a change in genotype. These are all things that we wouldn't be able to discover without Rosalind Franklin. And intelligence in genetics, like how genetics determine the range within a person's IQ is likely to fall. And lastly, I have psychological disorders such as ADHD, ASD, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia, which without genetics, we wouldn't have known that these are all disorders that can be passed down from family members.
So, I think I speak for the whole group when we could say how enlightening this assignment really was. I think what she really taught us in understanding her background is how connected everything is. I mean, think about all these fields, how broad all these different fields are. And through her research, she brought a lot of this together that really today still serves as a foundation for our study of some of these sciences, our study of some of these disorders, and all of the other things that were listed on the previous slides. and because of all this, she really deserves to be recognized. Now, unfortunately, she died very early of ovarian cancer. I believe it was at the age of 38, and because of this, she wasn't able to be awarded the Nobel Prize. But major people in the industry felt that had she lived, that she also would have been included in the award of the Nobel Prize. And I think, again, I probably speak for the whole group, is, we have to think how amazing this was, because, back in the, 40s and 50s and so, this was really uncommon for women to hold these positions in research. So, a very challenging environment, being a woman that she was challenged with in these different academic settings. So, I think that just kind of blows me away that she was able to accomplish everything that she did accomplish, just with some of those tremendous restrictions that our society had placed on her. So certainly without her, science would not be the same. And I'm going to go and turn the slide over. I believe it was Mia that wanted to finish this last part.
Yes, and one more thing that I would like to mention is that researching Rosalind Franklin only strengthened what I had already known, but as a group, how important minority representation is. Because without displaying the accomplishments of people of different races, beliefs, genders, or sexualities, younger people who fit into these communities will most likely think, oh, no one like me has done this before, so how am I supposed to do it? But when children see, oh, look, there's a woman in science, there is an African American in literature, there is a gender fluid person in politics, they can see, oh, I want to be like them. I want to be able to do what they're doing because they're like me, which means if they can do it, then I can do it, which is something that's extremely important, especially in times of suffrage and discrimination. As well as diversity allows us to bring a mixing pot of ideas. People from different backgrounds will bring different point of views that other people within the group may not have considered before, which allows us to have so many more advancements, not just in STEM fields, but just in life in general. And yeah, I also drew this. So I drew a double helix and wrote Rosalind Franklin's name in it. And there's 4 different colors. They're representing the 4 different base pairs. So there's that there. And here are our sources.